without further ado, here's a lot more stuff to do, which defeats the purpose of the phrase, you know? Let's switch on over. No, that's not the right thing. I clicked with my middle mouse. This wasn't planned. I'm sorry. This, however, is planned. Let's take a look. And let's throw up some tunes. In a smooth way. Very good. So I wanted to check this shit out. Here are my hands. As you can see, there's no discrepancy. No discrepancy with the color of my skin. Nothing weird going on. I am a ghoul, of course, so that's normal. So what we have here is the making of Earthworm Jim hardcover book. Very nice quality. From Kickstarter. By this guy right here. Mr. Douglas. He's known for a couple things, among them Earthworm Jim. I of course bought this book secondhand, so none of my money went to the Kickstarter. I felt like that was an appropriate side note. It's actually very pretty. I like Doug's art. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole book, but you know, we could take a little look. Don't want to, you know, do a PDF walkthrough due to copyright. But this is transformative work. So being a bit of a Earthworm Jim enthusiast, connoisseur, if you will, I knew a lot of this information contained herein already. They did an alright job. There wasn't any info that truly shocked me. But you know, I also haven't read it all the way through. But there's some cool guys on here. Nick Broody, Nick Jones, True Titans, Mike Kelsch. We'll get to that later, but you know, he plugs his new books at the end. Bigfoot Bill. I don't know what that is. Pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, some of these guys are really cool. Some of them. Most of them. I think 99% of them. I am a Jim head. Yes. Steve Crow. Psychro is named after him. So a lot of cool guys, you know. Basically, I think instead of attributing the first two gym games as the work of perhaps a singular or maybe two people that are, you know, two people that are noteworthy. It's actually the shiny team was a worldwide team. They picked. Look at this. Look at all these dudes. Handpicked. This is them when they're old, but they were younger, of course, in 1994. But they were at the top of their game. It was from the UK. David Perry, the guy who made a system to digitize animation cells and put them into video games on Sega Genesis. Real cool stuff. Like, these guys were awesome. Mark Lorenz, amazing artists. I can't say enough good things about 98% of the team that put Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 together. Earthworm Jim 1 is like basically my favorite game. You know, depending on the mood I'm in, it's Mario 64 or Earthworm Jim. You know, I could say a lot about it. It's Earthworm Jim is one of my special interests. And Jim himself is my comfort character. So he's laying that all out. There's some good art in here. Art books are really cool. Nice glossy pages. Some good info. Tom Tanaka. Andy Astor. And his asteroids. Lorenzen and his soil. True Jim heads know. This guy is the best. He did most of the promo art for the first two games. And that's where you get some of the best renderings of Jim that exist. He's awesome. Yeah. Head programmer. Mike Dietz. I believe he is an animator. All these guys are fucking awesome. However, the main subject of today's Weekly Weird is a certain guy with alliteration in his name. Yes, that's right. It's Thomas. Beloved video subject. Very fitting music here. Now, the guy who made the music for the Neverhood, I'm trying to remember his name. I should know this. I could also cheat and look at it here. I forgot his name, but you know, there's solid evidence of him. You know, he does vocals in the songs. Now that guy is pretty cool. I recommend looking at his work. Um, here we have Timothy Tallarico. So this is his entry in the Making of Earthworm Jim book. Now, let me take a sip here. Now, if you look back at my repertoire of past Let's Plays on my YouTube channel, you'll see in, I believe, 2023, I played Earthworm Jim 1, and that was like basically the first game I played on my channel before I had a VTube model. Now, I mentioned twice in that about you know, the discrepancy in the credits. You don't see this name pop up in the credits. And this was a year before H Bomber uploaded Oof, the Oof video. So true gym heads true gym heads will know well before the Oof video. Now, the main speculation the main speculation that I heard amongst uploads of the music on YouTube, well, the main thing that was said was there was a, due to legal reasons, Tommy's name does not show up. Well, I don't know what that means. That can mean anything. You know, that's open to interpretation, as far as I know. But before the Oof video came out, that was like the main blurb, right? Now, Mark Millar, or Mark Millar, confirmed to have made the music in the first game. Now, this guy's supposed involvement or lack thereof is, let's say, of a different status, right? Guys, I'm trying to not get sued. Now, since that was the rumor, so to say, we can from there infer I don't know what I'm saying, but basically all of this is alleged. This is just hearsay. This is literally just YouTube comments. And then a very well-sourced video. But let's forget about that. That's a different content creator, right? Let's take a look at this, because this is interesting. Well, there's definitely paragraphs here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 2 blurbs with some beautiful photos. Very proud. Let's take a look. Let me leave this on frame here. Doug. That's what it says. Doug. Doug. Just look at this guy. My goodness. So this is the words of Doug Tenaple. Or Mark Lorenz, but I assume this is Doug Tenapple. Doug 10 apples. Maybe more. Imagine. Dog, just look at this guy. My goodness. Tommy is like a sitcom character come to life. uh, and started running a music business. Yeah, he's a bit of a character, I'd say. He's a bit of a character. He's a character come to life, and you started running a music business. So I think the I'm gonna dissect basically every sentence here. So we're gonna take the words of Mr. Tenapple, and we're going to cross-reference public discourse on this guy. This is the idea of this little video. We're going to take these words and we're going to reference public discourse to see if there's any discrepancies, right? Am I pronouncing that right? Discrepancy? Anyway. We're going to cross-reference here, right? We're going to see if this tracks. This is a first-hand account of someone who allegedly worked alongside Tommy for many years. This is his little buddy, his little friend here. That little enclave of people, which very talented folks. 98% of them are 99. Very talented folks. Alright, so my goodness, Tommy's like a blah blah blah, running a music business, right? Doug does not go so far as to directly refer to him as a musician. In the first sentence, no mention of guitars, no mention of composition. He is simply stating that he started running a music business. And I think that's beautiful. What an eloquent way to puff up your friend here. He is the only guy in the room who is louder than me, and I'm the loudest guy in any room. He talks with his hands waving around more than me, which I believe he is of Italian descent, so his olive oil skin is there to as evidence of his Italiano-ness, you know? He uses more hair product than me. Again, Italian. His taste in collecting obscure artifacts is greater than me, and he takes more risks than me. Yeah. He definitely collects obscure artifacts. He has up to recently, I don't know the state of his estate, but he had a whole Spider-Man room. He had a Lara Croft statue, I believe. He has a whole bunch of crazy stuff. He has some plaques that he bought, allegedly. Now, he definitely collects obscure artifacts. That much is true. He takes more risks than me. I guess a businessman is they say that they take a lot of financial risk. Businessman. So what's wrong with this guy? I don't know. If If that's something your friends say about you, uh, quite the character. But you know, I think despite his quirkiness, I think his parents are probably very proud of him. Back when he started work on Earthworm Jim, this skinny, loud, acid-washed, coat-wearing, self-described rock star. Now that tracks. Rockstar comes in, so they Shiny or playmates that put together Shiny picked him up. He is talking a mile a minute, and the next thing I know, his music is being pounded into the game. Really? The next thing I know, his music that he... Now, it's his music, meaning that... Well, that's the question. Does he own the music? Or did he take part in its creation? And in which way did he take part in its creation? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. It doesn't make it clear here, but from this resource, now it's interesting. Just analyzing this here. We didn't carefully craft or plan the music. We just offloaded it to Tommy, and he would bring in a tape or a CD, and it always sounded good. All right, so to Doug's own admission, they didn't carefully craft or plan the music. There are classical pieces in the first two games, which are very humorous when added in, and I think they're good. They're good renditions of those pieces, and they do sound good on the sound driver. So I guess to fill in the gap is the second utility that these classical pieces provided for the games. So if they were on a crunch, perhaps they would say, "Oh, we could do a musical piece in this level." That's my speculation, but yeah. So like half of them are like classical pieces. So truly, I think that much is true, that they didn't plan the music. I wouldn't say they didn't carefully craft the music. I would say the music is actually very well done, well crafted. Whoever crafted it. But basically, the team offloaded it to Tommy. This music head, this figure for the game's music, passed off to him. And then what would happen? He would just come in with a tape or a CD, and that music sounded good. See how this jumps around? There's no account of him. There's accounts of him, I believe, jamming out. That much he can do, because he has Video Games Live. He could jam out, definitely. He could pick up a guitar and jam out. But when it comes to, you know, let's say, did we see Tommy in the studio jamming out, you know, making New Junk City, or Anything But Tangerines, or perhaps you know, any other of the very good songs on the first two games. Now, there's from this source here, no account of that happening. Uh, because the music was offloaded to him, and then he'd just show up with the CD. Now, Tommy owns a music company that, you know, ostensibly he has people working for him in this company. So far, everything I've said is just I'm just sourcing it here. So he just show up with the CD. Where did he get the CD? Where do you get the music on that CD? I'm not sure, but perhaps Mark Millar, whose name is in the credits, perhaps he you know he burned the CD for him. I don't know. um yeah, we judged it based on how it worked when we played it and if it entertained. It stuck and it always entertained. All right. Tommy is a showman. Tommy is a showman. It's an important feature that extroverts bring to the game team. Extrovert, huh? In that they know how to grab a room full of people and cast a spell on them. If we were working at Shiny with our heads down and Tommy walked into the building, your head looked up. Extrovert. Yeah. At the very least, you'd want to see what Tommy was wearing. He'd come in with an 80s style Flying V electric guitar slung over his shoulder. On another day, he was wearing a tacky coat covered in these gold sequins that would look stupid on anyone else. Self-described rock star. Tommy made them work. Tommy made them work. Very proud. His soul is covered in more gold sequins than his coat, so it looked like his coat was just trying to keep up with him. Good stuff. No mention of him composing or anything so far. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Here we go. On the technical side, Tommy was able to make layered sounding classical music sound good on a Sega Genesis. Interesting. So what was the sound driver like on the Sega Genesis version of Earthworm Jim? I believe that was the Gems driver, which I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think the Gems driver was a creation of Tommy. So the sound driver was not this guy. I don't think. Check the wiki. So one could perhaps say that the translation of classical music from those pieces were composed by classic legends that are long dead. So they did that, and then the sound driver guy, which I think it's David Perry as well. I'm not sure, but the sound driver guy had the technical know-how, and let those classical pieces be translated well on his sound driver. Now, I'm not sure if what Tommy's role was in in putting those classical pieces on the Genesis and the Super NES? Your guess is as good as mine. He had a few voice samples in Global Gladiators, so we wanted to try that for Earthworm Jim. Which, yeah, there's a sound sample of Terminator in the first game, in the bungee jump music. But the cartridge space was so limited, it wasn't a given that the game would have any voice beyond maybe one scream to show the character got hit. Now there's actually a wealth of sound effects in the game. Doug TenNapel voiced Jim in the first game himself. It wasn't Dan Castellaneta yet, so he did the voice for Jim, leaving, I guess, the sound effects. Now, who made the sound effects? Was it Tommy? He does like to go around picking up the sound of skateboards to put in Tony Hawk games. That much we've seen him do on video. So perhaps Tommy got some of the sound effects in the game. Perhaps. You know. But they did fit a number of voices for Jim in that game, so I guess they utilized the space very well. Now, I was at my table drawing, and Tommy came barging in like he owned the place. Hey, everybody. He had coiled cables slung around his torso, and then an expensive case where he produced a digital recorder. Within minutes, he had a microphone on a stand right next to my desk. So he came in with that recording stuff. I animated, and he would have me pause to record scratch dialogue for Jim. Ow! And plasma! He heard me burp on command once and asked if I could say Earthworm Jim in one long burp. He did that a couple of times, and he said, I'm going to have to burn this mic. So, he likes to record sound effects. Now, is he a sound engineer? I guess that, don't ask me. Ask someone that was, in the field at the time. So, that much we can say. He was definitely an aficionado of carrying a mic around and getting sound effects. Maybe he'd shake it out of you with his charming personality, So there's about a paragraph left here. Years later, I got an invitation to see the LA Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl. Mr. Hollywood Tallarico. Tommy has his show called Video Games Live. So this, basically, we're done with the making of the music. There's nothing else about it. And I don't believe I see Mark Millar's name in here at all. So I don't think the team had any contact with any subordinates of his. Maybe they did, but it's not in this book. Years later, he got invited to the Video Game Lives thing, where he plays video game music, where he jams out on stage. I had been to the Hollywood Bowl many times, but this time was different. The audience was on fire with excitement. Kids were jumping up and down, and Tommy is up on stage with his 80s metal guitar and some tacky jacket. And he's got the freaking LA Philharmonic playing his music. He does like to jam out on that stage. A self-described rock star. Dave Perry and me on the stage during the show and interviewed us. He invited them and interviewed them. Tommy was running the room being the Hollywood Bowl. He can do that. After the show, I remember Gary Coleman was signing autographs. Very Tommy. I think Gary Coleman was very proud of him as well. Very Tommy. Gary Coleman. Wow. This was in the 2000s, I believe. Hollywood name rock star actor Gary Coleman. Very Tommy. Earlier this year, Tommy called me. Oh no. Oh no. No, dude. Earlier this year, Tommy called me. Doug. Doug, I bought Intellivision and I'm relaunching the console. You gotta come to my cousin's club. It's called Amico. Oh, and I got the rights to make an Earthworm Jim game. Oh, and I got the rights, you know. Very Tommy. Wanna help? This was a lot to unpack, but it doesn't surprise me at all. He runs the room. The whole world is Tommy's room. He runs the room. Very proud. So that's all that Mr. Dougie Tenapple has to say about his good friend Tommy Tallarico. The Earthworm Jim Bible, so to say. And when it comes down to it, Tommy brought in a CD to the office. CDs and cassettes. I don't know why they used both, but he did that. From the reading here, he did that, and he stuck a mic in people's faces to get sound effects. Very proud. So I thought that was very funny and interesting, and basically the whole thing is par for the course about what we know about Tommy. By the way, Tommy popped up on Bluesky a couple days ago. Go check him out. Go follow him. Go give him a warm welcome. Go ask him if he's recorded any sound effects lately. Now, be nice to him, please. He's gone through a lot lately, alright? Please behave. So that's about it. Yeah, there were only 2 pages, and this page has basically like 2 little blurbs here. And basically half of it had nothing to do with the actual production of the music. Hell, I'd say like 2/3 of it had nothing to do with it. It was mainly like this paragraph right here. This little section here. So I thought that was interesting enough to warrant its own segment. You know. As for Doug Tenapple, you don't want to follow him. Don't worry about him. He's not Smiles. So thank you for what's that? Thank you for tuning into my first hand cam stream. I don't get a lot of sun here, and I'm mostly a dead reanimated body, but yeah, I thought that was pretty damn interesting. These are primary sources. All right, so you know, anything that was not directly sourced from here was basically hearsay, and you could just take it with a grain of salt. So go look up a oomph. Was it oomph? No, not it wasn't oomph. It was oomph.mp4. A well-sourced and documented video. And go pick this book up secondhand because it's very nice. It was a Kickstarter, so you can't really buy it. You can't buy it directly from Doug unless he has a bunch of copies laying around. Don't pay more than $50 for each of the books in the Kickstarter. Maybe a little more for this one because it's slightly more rare than the first two graphic novels. Did you know Evil the Cat is communist? You get to see that in the graphic novel. One of the very one of the only not subtle you know, reference to Doug's theology. His not even theology but nationalism. Real cool guy. The most evil thing he could think of is communism. Very cool. Very proud. I'm gonna set up for Animal Well. I'm gonna get the USB adapter set up. I'm gonna go to break. I'm gonna go pee and shit. Then I'll play some games. I'm glad I had the energy to fucking throw this together. See you soon.